Hi, and welcome back to the podcast after a long hiatus where I was gallivanting around North America. What an awesome holiday it was. If you have never been to Canada, I highly recommend it. And running in the snow is truly an experience not to be missed. I will, of course, be doing a pod soon all about Barkley. Until then, check out my race report in the Trail Run Mag and the interview I've done on the Running Mums pod, which should be coming out soon, I believe. It was so much fun being the interviewee for a change. No, as much as I love doing this podcast, it was nice to have a break. So thanks for bearing with me through that. Now, as I said before I left, I'm changing the format of the podcast. So I won't be focusing on interviews so much, although I still may do some on occasion if I find someone of particular interest. It was just a big challenge to try and negotiate times with people. So now I'll be focusing on sharing my knowledge on all things running and ultra running in the hope that you, the listener, will gain some insights and interesting tips. Please email or DM me on socials to let me know what you may like to hear about. Now, of course, follow me on Insta as Peak Endurance Coaching and also on Facebook. And then you can DM me through those. So today I'll be talking about whether you need a coach. And if you decide that you do, how will you choose one? Now, sometimes people think that having a running coach is a privilege reserved for professional runners whose livelihoods depend on them completing the correct training in the correct manner at the correct time. And that's not actually true because hiring a running coach is for everyone. Hiring a running coach can seem like an extravagance for the everyday runner, but nothing could be further from the truth. Let me go into that a bit more. Recreational athletes actually benefit more from the attention, knowledge, and guidance of a coach than elite athletes. They're the ones who don't have the time or resources available to them to focus purely on training as an elite runner may. If you're working full time and with kids and everything else, you don't have time to do all the reading and finding out and sorting out the program and those sorts of things. But what can a running coach give you that a free online running plan or your mate's running plan can't, you ask? A lot, I say. So, firstly, a coach is part exercise physiologist, psychologist, motivator, calming influence, accountability partner, hard to say, instructor, and educator. All right, let's start with accountability. Your coach will be overseeing your program and checking in to see how you are doing. For myself, I use an app called VDOT that I send out the personalized programs on and that I can see what the athletes are doing. Now, seeing as you are paying a coach, you'll feel more inclined to complete your training as you know someone is watching on, and most coaches, online coaches, will use an app. You'll be less inclined to skip that run when you know the coach will be checking in. If you're the kind of person who has trouble sticking to a plan, the alarm goes off in the morning and you think, oh, I think I need a rest day, even though truly you probably don't, then a coach is definitely for you. So, and by the same token, following a friend's plan, it's not the same because you don't have that accountability factor. Now, apart from the accountability factor, the coach is there to motivate you through the tough times and to calm you down and stop you overtraining through the good times and also through the tough times. Because sometimes when we're not doing so well, we think, oh my God, the best thing to do would be to train harder. And that's not always the case. Sometimes the best thing is recovery. They are there for you to bounce race ideas off and strategies and basically to chat all things running. And who doesn't love that? Because training for specific distances, particularly like the marathon or ultra marathons, is much more than just running every day, a coach will build you an individualized training plan suited specifically to your needs, time constraints, and so on. It should be very scientific, building different biological systems in your body so you can optimally train. Okay, not just train, but optimally train. A coach won't increase your mileage too quickly or have you run too hard, too soon, too often, which is what a lot of runners do. A coach will keep you in check to ensure you have enough recovery to turn around and nail the next quality session. A coach will ensure your plan progresses, in a logical manner, that in such a way that you should reach your A race in prime condition if they're following all the physiological rules of training. Coaches will be honest with you and help you with your strengths and weaknesses and also celebrate your, what goes well, but work on your weaknesses. Too often runners are very hard on themselves. Your coach should and will see your strengths and capabilities and remind you of them when you're feeling less confident, like before a big race, when you start doubting yourself. And we all do that. And it's great to have someone there in your camp reminding you. A coach could also be there to help you choose your race goal. If you're having trouble figuring out your next race, a coach will help you go over your options, helping you to clarify the best race for you, as they should know you from your training. Basically, if you're feeling, oh no, I'm not fast enough or accomplished enough to need a coach, that's actually a sure sign that you do, in fact, need one. All food for thought. So now that we've established that basically you do need a coach, not that I'm biased, how do you choose one? Firstly, there are a few things you need to look for. Now, your coach should have some sort of running certifications. For myself, I have a few. I have an Athletics Australia recreational runner certification, a Running Revolution certification, which is a US running group, and a UESCA, which is very hard to say, ultra running certification. So that's specific to ultra running. It's not enough that your coach has experience running and racing. They need actual official certifications that show they have studied this topic and thus are basing your program on research, science, and basic biological and physiological knowledge. As every runner is so different, it's not possible to just swap the program they use for themselves over to their athletes. Understanding the physiology and biology of what they are programming is a must. But by the same token, you cannot expect your coach to be winning every race they enter. They too are only human and their bodies can only do so much. A coach does not actually need to have ever won races to be a good coach. As I alluded to, it's possible for coaches to have won races but not actually be good coaches. So this should not be seen as a prerequisite. And expecting your coach to constantly race is not needed. Of course, I do believe an ultra, specifically an ultra running coach, should have done some ultras so they know from a personal view what the suffering is like, what you need from a crew, how to deal with all of that sort of stuff, so they can help you with that. I kind of think that is necessary, but they don't need to have won. Next, does everyone on their books get the same program, basically a cookie cutter program, or is it personalized just for you? You can imagine that you know the type I recommend. That sentence didn't sound right. But not one of my athletes' programs look the same. They have similarities, of course, because the principles are the same, but none of the programs are the same. And that is the way it should be. Next, how is the coach with communication? Can you message and get a fairly rapid reply? Or is that not included in your program? Do you have to pay extra for that? Personally, I do not provide any programs where there is, say, only one text message a week or one email a month. For me to coach my clients properly, I personally need to have open communication with them and know that they feel free to communicate with me, and we chat through the app and through text message, and I am available for this 7 days a week. Yes, Saturdays and Sundays included. You need to feel that you can message your coach with a question or to change the plan. And I know some coaches charge extra for that. You need to decide if you're happy with that and whether or not you want to pay extra for that sort of thing, or if you want it to be adaptable. Lastly, do you click with your potential coach? This is so important. It could have actually gone second to certifications or maybe first. I don't know. Basically, it will be hard to work with a coach if you have no rapport. You will probably at some point need to talk with your coach about personal things, as these do impact your training and your running, and you need to feel comfortable doing this. So, you need to be able to feel comfortable chatting with your coach, basically, about all manner of things. Do your research, check out the coaches in your area or online, and find out if they are right for you. They should be open to a chat on the phone before you commit, because personally, I don't know what about you, but I find just through email or message, it's not quite the same. That in-person chat on the phone is so much better. And remember, cheaper is not always better. As the saying goes, you get what you pay for. And, people are willing to spend lots of money on shoes and watches and all that sort of stuff. How about the coaching, which is actually going to have the biggest impact on your race? Well, there you have it, my first podcast of the new series where I riff about topics dear to my heart. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. Next week, I'll be discussing what a quality program should consist of, from the year macrocycle to the race mesocycle, right down to the microcycles of the weekly training. Lots to cover there. Now, I would truly love it if you could do me a solid and write a review of the podcast. It truly only takes a minute to rate and review. One sentence is enough, but it makes my day and helps to build the pod. And actually, who doesn't need a pat on the back occasionally? I'd know I would love it. Now, also look out on my website or on socials, Peak Endurance Coaching on Insta or Facebook, for in-person running club coming to Melbourne after Easter. Also, a running camp is in the works, possibly end of May. I'm trying to get that organised. We'll see how that goes. But lots to look forward to there. And like I said, get onto the socials so you can see all the different interesting things I'm sharing, and even get on my email list at peakendurancecoaching.com.au. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great run if you're running, or just have a great day relaxing. See you next time.